Audrey Smaltz wasn't just a fashion show announcer, she also worked for the Johnsons on Fashion Fair. She says they started by hiring a chemist to make shades of foundation and lipstick that looked good on darker skin.
We would try all the cosmetics on everybody who worked in the Chicago office. We had all shades of colors there. And we tried it on the darkest girl and the lightest girl.
Oh, that's great.
And everything in between.
So you could kind of tweak as you went along.
Yeah, we would practice on our own employees.
This is how Fashion Fair created and tested their makeup lines, like the chocolate raspberry lipstick or the bronze blaze foundation.
But when the Johnsons tried to sell their new makeup line to established makeup companies like Revlon, no one wanted it. Maybe the big companies passed because there were already smaller brands, or maybe they weren't sure that you could make money selling makeup to Black women. The Johnsons thought those companies were wrong, and so they took a risk and went at it on their own, which meant next they needed packaging. They settled on pink.
Eunice came up with pink because Estee at that time was blue. Everything Estee did was blue, so Eunice said, well, I'll do pink.
And I remember those compacts. I grew up with them. They were like this little pale marbleized pink. When I was a little girl, all the ladies I knew carried them around.
And it was a status symbol. Pulling out that compact meant you cared about people caring about how you, as a Black woman, looked. No more making do with a shade close to what you needed.
Now, once they had the little pink compacts and lipsticks, they had to figure out how to sell it. In the 1970s, that meant setting up shop in department stores. The Johnsons had to personally visit stores, like traveling salespeople, to ask for space on the cosmetics floor. The first few companies they asked were the big boys: Marshall Field and Company in Chicago, A&S in Brooklyn, and Bloomingdale's in Manhattan.
I knew who was the head man over there for cosmetics, Lester Grabetz. And so I called Mr. Grabetz, and I said, I'm working for Ebony Magazine, and we have a cosmetic line, and can we come see you tomorrow? Because Mr. Johnson was going to be in town the next day. He said, oh, of course, Audrey. We made that appointment, and they wanted the cosmetics immediately.
These stores were in. All they had to do was give them some space on the floor. Meanwhile, those traveling fashion shows, they were still going, visiting dozens of cities every year with thousands of people attending. And now those shows were a kind of showcase for the new makeup brand.
What I would do, we would have a little section, and they would come on stage, and I would say, this girl is in this shade of color, this one is in that, and I would tell them about the various shades that 3 or 4 of the models had on, and they would do a little skit on the stage.
Audrey would stand next to the model and point out the shade each woman was wearing: the chocolate raspberry lipstick or the honey glow foundation. It was like a live commercial with in-person influencers.
And then when